think today?
Hoy lo esperamos, hoy hay noticias.
Better to have a good agreement faster.
Is August still a limit?
Excuse me?
Does August continue to be a limit or an objective for getting this finished?
It's a very efficient timeline.
It's been a week of NAFTA whiplash in Washington. It began with reports the U.S. and Mexico were near a, quote, handshake deal. Then Mexico said they were close to clearing a key sticking point on autos. Then the U.S. said major issues were still outstanding. Meanwhile, Canada remains outside the talks for now. So what's going on? Joining me now from Mexico City is former Mexican Congressman Agustin Barrios Gomez. Mr. Barrios Gomez is now the president of the Mexico Image Foundation and anchor of ADN News. Hi there, nice to see you again. Thanks for coming back on the show.
Likewise, Vashi.
So there were reports earlier this week, we mentioned that Mexico and the U.S. were close to some sort of handshake deal on NAFTA, but as you and I both know, nothing has quite materialized yet. What's your understanding of where things stand?
Yeah, there's a little bit of a perfect storm because the outgoing administration wants to basically have that medal and wear it. They want to go out with a bang, and having a NAFTA deal would be great for them. They are in perfect tandem with the incoming administration, which means that the incoming administration would also like a deal such that there's no contamination of other issues when they take power on the 1st of December. So there's a lot of pressure on that end. At the same time, former President Cedillo and a lot of opinion leaders, myself included, we've highlighted the fact that it would be better to have no agreement than a bad agreement. And so in that sense, the negotiations have been taking place behind closed doors. They're very much in line with U.S. efforts from the beginning to divide Mexico and Canada, which is something that a lot of us are quite uneasy about. Having said that, we have an incredible team of negotiators. Secretary Guajardo, whose audio was on just a moment ago, he's certainly one of the most experienced and one of the best negotiators in the world. And so it's a combination of factors, and we have to be very careful. We really want Canada back at the negotiating table.
Let me ask you about that, because we have the line that we've been told is essentially that there's nothing out of sorts, that Canada isn't there, that there are certain things that are best worked out bilaterally between Mexico and the United States. But that line has now been delivered week after week for what seems like almost a month. Is there more to it?
Given the fact that you have these people in a xenophobic, anti-free trade regime in Washington, right? And so they have always had this idea of divide and conquer. At the beginning, Canada thought that it was actually going to be on the gentle end of this because they thought, because of the ethnic, the linguistic and the wealth and all of that there would be a lot more bonhomie with respect to the United States. But now the tables have turned, and it now seems that the United States is more favorable in terms of NAFTA, at least, with Mexico. And so I think it's just playing out what they wanted all along, and it's playing into the political moment in Mexico, which with the outgoing administration obsessed with getting an agreement, at the same time as the incoming administration really wanting for that to happen as well. So there's a lot more pressure that wasn't there before.
So I know when you were on the program before, you didn't think that there was any chance that there could be sort of that any kind of bilateral agreement worked out. Do you still do you still think that that's the case?
No, actually, my position has always been that if the United States was able to divide us, that it would be bad for all three countries. And so in that sense, on our end, we were completely in favor of the trilateral, and we have been, and we still are. And even the president-elect Andrés Manuel López Obrador has been very specific that he also believes in a trilateral agreement. But now you're getting pressures that have to do with elections and pressures that have to do with the change in power that are allowing certain things to come in. Now, Mexico has been very clear. It has always wanted a trilateral agreement, but now the pressures on timing and in terms of the American administration wanting to divide us they're right there, and that's something that's been very difficult. Also, I think Canada has also changed. Especially after the personal insults to Prime Minister Trudeau, I think Canada has become a lot more reticent, or perhaps there's less trust than there was. The Canadians always believed that there would be, sort of a fallback position, and that fallback position would always remember this extremely special relationship of two countries that fought in world wars together. But that is obviously not happening. And so I feel a Canadian negotiating team, when Minister Freeland was here several weeks ago, it was very obvious that they were also trying to get a feel, not just for Mexico, but how things are really playing out in Washington. I sense a much more fearful position on behalf of Canada, and that might mean that the Canadian team is also sort of falling back to its bunker position, right?
And what do you think the bunker position is?
Well, the bunker position is what our talking heads are saying, which is basically it's better to have no agreement than a bad agreement. And so they're not giving in as much as they would have under normal circumstances, because there's no longer that element of trust.
Right.
And I think that's hampering also the return, and it's playing directly into the protectionists in Washington's hands, unfortunately.
Okay, thank you so much for your time, Mr. Barrios Gomez. Great to see you again.
Yes, likewise, Basha. I just wanted to leave you with on a bright note. We had the opening of Tim Hortons in Mexico, and it was in Monterrey in the north, and it was the most successful store opening of a Tim Hortons anywhere in the world. So wow. We're a natural couple, Mexico and Canada.
You bet. Good to know. Thanks a lot again. Appreciate your time.